So there's this comment I got on my YouTube video earlier today, and I wanted to just speak about it because I think it's very insightful and a very interesting conversation, and they brought up great points. And I used to have a mentality similar to this as well, but as I basically advanced in my entrepreneurial journey, I started to view things differently, right? First is you're going to fight more for the things you love rather than for money. You probably wouldn't fight Javante Davis for $25,000, but if he beat your child, you'd find some way to enact some form of revenge, right? And this is similar with businesses that the more or when you're more passionate about what you're doing, what you're building, you're willing to fight for it more. You're willing to work harder for it. Because again, in business, there's a lot of rejection, right? From clients, from potential employees, from like legislation in terms of like legal issues, registering certain things, getting the infrastructure for technology to work. Like there's a lot of pushback you're gonna face, right? And the more what you're doing, you love it, the more you're willing to deal with that pushback. Even in terms of experimenting different strategies, like tolerance for high failure. I don't think, and that's also again, it's like I don't think most people have a tolerance for high failure. Like most people in general don't. Even when we look at successful entrepreneurs, they don't have a high tolerance for failure. It's just that they really love what they were doing or the idea or the problem that they were solving, that they were willing to deal with that over and over and over and over and over. Secondly, I agree with the point that when you build a business centered around your passions, you want to feel uncomfortable using certain like strategies to grow, and expansion strategies. But that doesn't mean you can't grow or you can't scale it, right? In terms of your example that you gave, many people in the restaurant industry, Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver, have been able to generate millions from the media aspect, right? Or from the media aspect of the cooking industry. So again, you want to maintain that high level of artistry. You don't need to open up 10 trillion like establishments, right? You can have your small establishment and make sure that quality control is at the level you're proud of. And then again, build up a media channel around how you run your business, around, oh, the type of meals you serve, the amount of effort and time that goes into serving those meals, and then really focusing on building up that media side. And once you've built up the media side, you'll have a brand. And then with that brand, you can do things like sell recipe books. And again, if you don't feel comfortable selling recipe books, you can just sell books about your experience in terms of getting your business to that point. And that's also similarly, instead of licensing your company brand and opening up many establishments via like the licensing sense, you can license the techniques that you use to grow your business to that point, right? Okay, yeah, the maybe ad campaigns are ran, or this is how we go about quality control inside of our business. Those things you can license that to other high level entrepreneurs within the restaurant industry. That's extremely profitable, right? Again, host masterminds where you speak about those things. That's extremely profitable. So when it comes to growing your business as well, like the creativity in terms of strategies to execute, you are the limiter for that. And once you realize that you are the limiter for that, but you realize again, you like basically can continuously create more and more and more strategies, you're fine with, okay, I want to maintain this integrity. I would just think of a unique and different way in terms of growing my business. That's also why it's like, again, I guess you can say that it does hamper your ability to grow, but your ability to grow is heavily dedicated or heavily based off of your capability to think about situations differently and uniquely, right? Your experimentation skills, your execution skills, and your creative thinking and your team's creative thinking. That's the biggest, that's the biggest thing that's going to control how much revenue you make, how much profit you're generating. And that's also again, in terms of the things that we spoke about, they are more profitable, than opening up chains, because chains are very expensive. Like at a certain point now, you're just buying real estate in high end places, right? Or you're holding real estate in high end places. That's not something, it's not cheap game. But again, building up a media channel, costs are low. It's more about learning to execute on it. And again, that high level of integrity, if you can put that into the media aspect, into the brand aspect, into the licensing aspect of other senses, you will do very, very well and will become very highly profitable. Funnily enough, you mentioned Jeff Bezos at a certain point in your comments, and I think that's very interesting because he himself has said that people try to force passions onto themselves, and that's not really how life works, he views, right?
You don't choose your passions choose you. And all of us are gifted with certain passion. You can have a job, or you can have a career, or you can have a calling. And if you can somehow figure out how to have a calling, you have hit the jackpot, because that's the big deal.
There's a job and then there's a calling. And if you can find your calling, that's where you hit the jackpot. And again, there's other sources that said that, oh, okay, what was the exact quote or something along the lines that he said that don't chase your trends, right? Don't chase trends, chase your passions. And I think it's just very interesting that people like Jeff Bezos are saying these things, right? Like when you see like, these mega billionaires saying these things, you're like, what is this person saying? Obviously, they're just spouting. You feel like that. But when you get in further and further into your entrepreneurial journey, or how I felt as when I got further and further into my entrepreneurial journey, is that again, first of all, you need something sustainable, right? You can make 100,000 like 1 month, 1 quarter, but can you do that year, every month, every quarter, and then continuously grow with that, right? In terms of pushing and continuously doing that, you have to care about what you're doing. You have to have a team, right? And that's also, you're not going to work while for a company if you feel like you're just working to make someone rich. But if you're working because you guys feel like you have a vision that's actually creating value to the world and you're passionate about it, you can work through problems. You can work through, okay, building the infrastructure for this. We can't actually implement this technology right now. We've just found that it's gonna take forever in terms of product development weeks to genuinely get this up and running. This switching over to that, again, dealing with legislation issues, this, that. And that's also again, the main point of that video was you can build a highly profitable business centered around your passions. You can, and it will work well. You can. And I think it's one of the better ways to approach business. But again, I'm not saying you can't make money just simply by wanting to make money. But to do that, again, you have to be, I feel like those people who are able to do it are very mentally like strong and tough. And if they were doing something that they were more aligned with, they would even be able to have better results. So yeah.